What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Take Three podcast. My name is Brandon, and as always, joined by my co-host Alex. And in this Tuesday afternoon / evening episode here, we're going to be wrapping up Week 11 in the NFL. Interesting week, all in all. I mean, we got to see the start last week where the Falcons got absolutely dominated, embarrassing. I watched three quarterbacks throw three interceptions in the matter of, I think it was 3 possessions, but I watched two back-to-back, Josh Rosen and Felipe Franks. That was pretty hilarious, if I'm not lying. We look at Indianapolis, shock everybody. Probably the shocker of the week, I'd say. They absolutely dominate the Buffalo Bills, who we kind of still thought were the AFC favorite. I think we got to kind of sit back and reconsider that. We know what Josh Allen is. We know how good he is, but it's like at times we cannot sit there and look away from the fact that they have looked abysmal on offense at times. Browns do their thing. They squeak out a game. Baker Mayfield, it feels like Baker Mayfield and the Browns they're heading towards a divorce, if I was being honest. They're just reading the room after that. Straight down the slate, nothing really else surprising, I guess. The no Lamar Baltimore Ravens end up beating the Chicago Bears. Chicago finds a way. Matt Nagy, you did it again, my guy. Obviously, big one out of that. Justin Fields' ribs, he was out. Think he's out for Thanksgiving as well. Sandy Dalton came in, threw a prayer. I don't know what the Ravens were doing, all out blitzing, ridiculous, just play coverage, but they don't know what they're doing. Colt McCoy, shout out to that guy, goes on the road, goes 2-1. We'll get into that. Obviously Chiefs beat Dallas. That was a big one. And Sunday night and Monday night, I mean, they were two. Sunday night was super interesting, fun game, a lot of points, probably surprised some people, and then Monday night was business as usual. So, I mean, I'll toss it over to you real quick. I mean, how are we feeling coming off of a Monday night and really wrapping up another week?
I had a pretty good weekend personally, which barely negative on the spreads. That was really the only disappointing thing for me. The Eagles won. My personal bets went really well, and there are some interesting outcomes. I thought it was a pretty good weekend of football. I'm sad Cam Newton lost. I was rooting for the Panthers and Cam, and then I wanted to see Lamar play. But other than that, I wasn't really disappointed. It's hard to feel bad when your bets hit and the Eagles win.
Yeah, facts for sure. I went 9-5, 9-4. I think it was 9-5. Yeah, it would have been 10-4 if the Chargers could hold on to it. I mean, I know it's tough to hold on to 17-point leads and cover 5.5-point spreads, but we know how that happened. They decided to make Big Ben look like he's back in his prime. But I mean, let's just start right off America's game of the week. We had the Kansas City Chiefs at home. Arrowhead Stadium was rocking, to be honest, from the start. That game was the energy in the building was elite. We saw obviously Kansas City come out real quick, get up 7-0, and then the game kind of just turned into a defensive grindy game. Obviously, no Amari Cooper. CD Lamb went out with a concussion. I believe that was right before halftime when he threw a jump ball and he gets an interception. And he goes out. So obviously they're hindered. And then going in, I mean, they didn't have Randy Gregory. They didn't have DeMarcus Lawrence, no Tyron Smith. So they were beat up. But I mean, this is kind of, I said it last week, it was kind of about time the Dallas Cowboys start to look like the Dallas Cowboys, right? Everything's kind of up until this point went perfect. Weren't really dealing with major injuries. They were kind of a little bit banged up, but I mean, they were finding ways to win games, right? You steal a game with Cooper Rush, you look bad against the Broncos, then you come out and throttle the Falcons. And then this was a game where you get the Chiefs who are they're starting to put it back together. They get Melvin Ingram, who's now off the edge, being able to move Chris Jones inside. I mean, you could see all day against the Cowboys, him being back on the inside of the nose tackle position is crucial for that defense. They are a totally different defense against the run, even him getting to the quarterback. So, I mean, what do you see here? The Chiefs, they look like they're back. I don't know if the offense is like 100% back because they're still weird on that side. But I mean, if you can get your defense to put up performances like this against one of the league's top offenses, even with the injuries, I mean, you've got to be happy if you're Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo heading into the next week, week 12.
Yeah, the Chiefs are looking good the last couple of weeks. They've turned around. Shout out to Steve Spagnuolo and that defense. To me, that's the bigger one. It always kind of felt like Patrick Mahomes and the offense would eventually get it going. It made me nervous because it was like a full over a month that they weren't playing well and he was turning it over. But like you kind of always felt they would get it right because there's just so much talent on the offensive side of the ball for Kansas City. I'm very impressed with Steve Spagnuolo and that defense. They're playing way better. Being able to move Chris Jones with the addition, it just makes a huge difference. That defense is playing so much better. And yeah, I'm very impressed with Kansas City. And like you said at the beginning with the Buffalo getting routed by Jonathan Taylor, basically, the Indianapolis Colts routing them. It's kind of hard to see who the number one in the AFC is like who's the dominant team. It feels very up for grabs and right on schedule. Here's the Chiefs playing well. So it's hard to pick who's going to win the AFC to me right now. I guess I would lean the Chiefs. That's a reactionary response, but it's like you want to side with Patrick Mahomes because he's done it the last few years, and then Buffalo's kind of fallen off, and the other teams have not looked as good the last few weeks. So, yeah, shout out to Kansas City. They're like flipping their season around, 7-4. I think we all expected them to not have 4 losses yet, but they're playing well, and the defense is playing much better. So it's hard not to feel like really good and encouraged about the Chiefs right now. And then the Cowboys, I was all in on the Cowboys this week, but like I can't be upset about it. I'm an Eagles fan. I'm never upset when the Cowboys look bad. Even if I'm wrong, the Cowboys look bad and they lost. I'm always happy about that. I just don't trust Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy to make adjustments on the fly. We were talking about this before we started recording. They have enough weapons. You got Pollard and Zeke. You throw out Schultz. I would have tried to run more tight ends, 2 running back sets really to like because those receivers don't have a lot of reps, Noah Brown, and then there was Cedric Wilson, Michael Gallup, because you're really hurting without CeeDee Lamb and Cooper, but they lost CeeDee Lamb at halftime. They were double teaming him. He wasn't really getting a lot of looks. It was 3 catches, 14 yards at half. But I was surprised that the Dallas offense was slowed down that much. No receivers hurts a lot, but they still have weapons. I thought Tony Pollard should just touch the ball more. He's so explosive. They got to manufacture touches for that guy, especially if they're hurting at the wide receiver position. So I'm hoping they do that for Thursday because I got more faith in them when they can game plan, but it's hard to have confidence in this Cowboys coaching staff when they have to make adjustments on the fly. And I think that could be a big Achilles heel for them down the road.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, neither offense is really amazing, right? It's a 19-9 football game. Dak Prescott throws 2 picks. They had protection issues. He was sacked 5 times. And then on the other side, I mean, the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, it really wasn't the typical Las Vegas performance that we saw a week ago where he throws for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. I mean, he wasn't that great as well. I mean, the pick, I really think getting Clyde Edwards-Helaire back, he had fresh legs. You could tell he hadn't been out there in a minute, and his legs were clearly fresh from the get-go. But yeah, I mean, you hit it spot on. Steve Spagnuolo dialing up some blitzes, finding ways to get after Dak, force their hand. And yeah, I mean, Mike McCarthy, it's Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore, right? It's the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, when you have to adjust, they're not going to get the job done. Like I said, it's been a perfect start to a Dallas Cowboys season. And you just knew that it was bound to unravel. So, I mean, I still think the Chiefs, they definitely have some stuff to figure out on offense and protection issues. They still remain. But I mean, if you can get that defense going and kind of take a little bit of pressure off of the offensive side of the ball as they've still been struggling, I think you got to be happy if you're Andy Reid. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not jumping on after this week. I am not jumping on any team in the AFC. They're all even across the board for me. I'm not jumping on either wagon because it wasn't like an amazing. They didn't smoke the Cowboys 42-9. It was 19-9. And you could question if Amari Cooper and a couple of the guys are out there that the game could have went differently. But yes, I'm not jumping on anything. Cowboys, I mean, bright spot for you guys is Micah Parsons. I believe he tied DeMarcus Ware's most sacks for a Cowboys rookie with I believe he has 8 now. So I mean, moving him all around that defense, he's been a stud pick for them. I mean, he's been able to play linebacker. Now they have him on the end since they're missing Gregory and Lawrence, and he produces wherever. He's a high motor player. I liked it as much as I hate the Cowboys. I loved the pick when they picked him. I knew he'd be able to slot in anywhere. And yeah, if that's the one bright spot coming out of a loss for the Cowboys. I mean, you're still 7-3, top of the division, and you have Micah Parsons rolling for that defense. But just get the guys healthy, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Dallas is still right there for the 1 seed in the NFC. You never know. I think they're only a game behind the Cardinals. They have 2 losses, but I thought Dallas's defense played well for most of the game. They didn't start out too hot, but they settled in. They played really well, especially Micah Parsons, like you mentioned. Also, Dallas's defense is not used to keeping them in the game and playing behind. Usually Dallas's offense is rolling. It's either a tight game or they have the lead, and they kind of take a little risk, try to get those turnovers. That's how the defense plays. So for them being behind and the defense having to take the mantle to like keep them in the game, because they didn't do a great job against Denver when it was that scenario. I thought they did a good job for the most part against the Chiefs. I thought the defense played well.
Yep, they played. Yes, they did their job. And yeah, it was definitely the offensive side of the ball, which is weird to say for the Cowboys this year. But I mean, let's keep it moving straight to another AFC battle and another team that we thought was at the top. We had Jonathan Taylor 41, the Buffalo Bills 15. Obviously, we saw Jonathan Taylor just go off. The man had 32 carries, a buck 85, 4 touchdowns on the ground, and then he adds another receiving touchdown. And yeah, it keeps the Colts are back in it, right? They're back in it for the playoffs, 6-5. They really pieced everything together. They seem to be getting healthy at the right time. Darius Leonard's healthy. Obviously, Carson Wentz has been there. I mean, he hasn't put up amazing stat lines. I mean, I could probably go out there and throw for 100 yards on my off day and a touchdown if Jonathan Taylor is going to do the job. But I mean, shout out to them. They're 6-5. Frank Reich has his team back in this thing. Obviously, we see what's happening with the Titans. It's like that division it's not necessarily over yet when you have the top team in your division loses games to the Jets and the Texans, which we'll touch on in a little bit. And then for the Bills side of the ball, I mean, I don't know what to say. The offense hasn't been good. Obviously, the defense gets chewed up, but I mean, when you look at Josh Allen, 21-35, 209, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. They don't really have an identity on the ground. They're still struggling. They come out and they beat bad teams, then they lose like this, and it's just like I don't know what to make of the Bills. That's why I said I'm not jumping on any team, because it's like next week they'll come out and they'll look amazing again, and they'll be 7-4, and I don't know what to do with the Bills. It was a team that when we watched them storm into Kansas City and beat the piss out of the Chiefs fairly easy, where we were locked in and all in on them, and now we watch them and it's like I don't know if I can buy any stock in the Bills. I mean, what do you see here? Obviously, things are trending up for the Colts fast.
I'm very impressed with the Indianapolis Colts. This was the team I expected at the start of the year. They're getting into a groove, and they might be the best team in their division. Obviously, Tennessee's above them. They beat them twice, but Tennessee lost their star running back, and Indianapolis has theirs. We're talking about two teams that really rely on their running games, more maybe the most in the league, with the exception of Lamar and the Ravens. So, like, I'm very impressed with Indianapolis. Dominant performance. Their defense was great, and the thing is, the Buffalo has had a very good defense this year, and their offense has been hit and miss. I was kind of worried about the linebacking core because they are kind of beat up, but no excuses. Like, the Colts ran through that defense, and that's pretty concerning to me for Buffalo. Obviously, the offense needs to get going. It has been good, and I'm a little worried about Josh Allen at this point. Honestly, he's had just one extraordinary season in his last few years of football. He's been in the league for 4 years, and then his 4 years in college weren't exactly fantastic either. So it's like I feel like he's only like really lit it up last year, and because of that, I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt through this season. But it's just hot and cold. We've seen these Buffalo Bills come out and look great against the Chiefs. We saw them lose week 1 against the Steelers. We see them lose this one against the Colts. It's like Buffalo feels very hot and cold, and it makes me nervous. I wouldn't have confidence picking them moving forward. Like playoff wise to represent the AFC. They're still a very good team. They certainly have the ability to do it, but Buffalo concerns me, especially because if it was a closer game, I'd feel better about it. Or if it was more low scoring, because like I thought Buffalo's defense has played really well, but the fact that they got chewed up so badly really concerns me moving forward with the Bills.
Yeah, they were they were bad to say the least. It's definitely the picture in the AFC becomes more clouded than ever with the amount of 6-4, 7-4 teams that are kind of on the radar. And then you have teams like the Colts moving up, getting healthy. I mean, if I'm the Colts, I'm just kind of concerned if Jonathan Taylor doesn't have it one day, can Carson Wentz do it? Because we've seen really it's been the Jonathan Taylor show the past couple of weeks, right? Carson Wentz hadn't had to do much. He's been able to skip birth and pregnancies to play football and throw for 100 yards and get carried. I mean, it's got to be a good day if you're the Colts and Carson Wentz, and then you had the Bills. I mean, you hit everything that's really there. I'm not going to sell on my Josh Allen stock. I love the tools, but he's got to be definitely smarter. It feels like almost like that MVP campaign might have put a little bit of a pressure on him this year to kind of perform at that level, and he's doing stuff that isn't necessarily smart, especially the one pick that he threw into like double coverage was just stupid. It was a duck ball that was like, I don't know why you're making that throw, but I mean, yeah, last year kind of it put pressure on this team that's never really been there, and probably has never really been there for Josh Allen, not even in college, right? Went to Wyoming. There's not really pressure when you're playing for Wyoming in college. So there's kind of a level that they got to figure things out, figure their offense out. They have the tools, Stephon Diggs, and yeah, Josh Allen just has to play cleaner football. They got to play smarter. as a unit. You can't throw 3 interceptions and expect to compete with smart, good football teams. As even Trubisky got in there, you know, I mean, he had to throw an interception too. So
That's how you know it's rough for Buffalo. I will
exactly.
say one last point about the Colts. They're like getting hot towards the later end of the season. There's still plenty of football left before playoffs, but this is definitely one of those teams, if they're going to be a wild card team, that the top seeds do not want to see.
Yeah, I mean Frank Reich's smart. You can tell he's smart, right? He's not putting a huge amount of pressure on Carson Wentz, and he's running with the tools that he got. And yeah, that defense, they're getting better, they're getting healthier, and we're really seeing, as you said, the Colts team from the preseason that we kind of expected, really hitting their stride right now. So I mean, you got to be super excited if you're a Colts fan, and they're trying. I mean, a couple more wins, maybe we're talking about them in the are they the top of the AFC? The way the AFC looks now, it's like it's hard to pick teams sitting back and looking now. Keeping it moving forward. We'll go into Sunday night football. Obviously, the Chargers. This is the game 27-10. I picked the Chargers 5.5. All the injury or the COVIDs and the injuries between TJ Watt, Joe Hayden with an ankle, and then obviously Minka Fitzpatrick COVID list was out. I was like, this is a shoe-in, right? There's no shot. The Steelers, they'll show up. The line even creeped up. I think it was the 6.5 where it closed. And I was like, yeah, everybody's buying in, right? And then you see 27-10, like Justin Herbert and those guys are rolling, doing their thing. And then you get to the fourth quarter and it's like, or the third and the fourth quarter. Yeah, fourth quarter. And you allow 27 points to Big Ben. I don't get it. Big Ben, it looked like he turned the clock back somehow, 28-44, 273, 3 touchdowns. The game looked lost. Like they were down big, and it's typically, yeah, it's over. Big Ben at this point, like he's not bringing you back when you're down 27-10. And then what do you see? He brings them back. And then obviously the icing on the cake, Justin Herbert finds Mike Williams for a touchdown, seals the deal. But I mean, I sit here now and I'm like, I'm not impressed with the Chargers. I would have been impressed if they kept it going and made it, I don't know, 41-10, 35-10 victory. But when you sneak out a 41-37 home victory against a team that you basically dominated for 3 quarters, I can't really look at the stock up. I mean, Justin Herbert played good, 30-41, 382, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Justin Herbert ran for 90 yards. Yeah, 9 carries, 90 yards. Austin Eckler found the end zone twice, though. But it's hard to sit there and really buy stock or rebuy myself into the Chargers, even though they won, because they let a team, really an inferior opponent, when you look at it with all those injuries, creep back in. It's like if TJ Watt was out there and Minka Fitzpatrick is out there, do the Steelers pull this off and kind of pull the upset from down big? So typical Steelers loss, but Chargers hard to buy any stock. How do you feel exiting that game? Definitely a very fun game. I mean, that fourth quarter was electric.
Very, very fun Sunday night game. I think this is what we expected to watch when we saw the Chiefs Cowboys. It was kind of roles reversal, but like this was a classic Steelers game. They're doing all right. They're in the game, and then their defense / special teams gets them back in it, and somehow they have the lead with a few minutes left. Pittsburgh just figures out how to win games. I'm not crazy about this roster offensively, mainly the quarterback position. And I've said it many times. I don't like picking the Steelers, but they figure out how to win games. 5-4-1. Yeah, then they beat the Bills, and then they go on the road, almost beat the Chargers, and then they tie with the Lions, Big Ben or not. It's just they're a weird team, and it's hard to figure out what the Steelers are going to do each week. And then if I'm going to be encouraged with the Chargers, this is the one thing I'll say. I think longtime Chargers fans would agree that they have watched their team, really good versions of their team, choke away this exact kind of game all the time, have their special teams lose them the game all the time, like the block punt that happened in the fourth for a touchdown. And it's just, if I'm a Chargers fan, it's just like relieving that they didn't actually lose this game, because it feels like the Chargers before Herbert was there and all the Phillip Rivers years, and where even when they were really good or really bad or mediocre, they always found a way to lose the close games. And this was a classic Chargers fashion, blow the lead, block punt to get the Steelers back in it. It just very much felt like a classic Chargers meltdown. And for one of the few times I've seen, they were on the winning end of it. Justin Herbert bailed them out with that nice Mike Williams touchdown, or maybe Mike Williams bailed them out, however it is. But I mean, if I'm a Chargers fan, for once, it's got to be nice that your special teams meltdown didn't actually cost you the game. Y'all finally were able to pull it out after that.
Yeah, facts. You got to be happy just to walk away with the W regardless. I'm just amazed even watching these highlights as they replay as we talk about it. Just some of the throws that Big Ben's making. It wasn't a Najee Harris eat game. It was really just the Big Ben game. And yeah, as you said, I mean, you got to be happy if you're the Chargers, although it's hell of a lot closer than you wanted it to be when you look at your team up 27-10. That yeah, Justin Herbert showed he's kind of escaped that Philip Rivers curse of losing games like this, or yeah, losing games that you thought you had in the bag. They find a way to get it done going forward. Definitely need to play 60 minutes of football. Don't play three quarters, and let the other team, especially with a mediocre at best quarterback at this point in his career, and Big Ben, creep his way back into the game. And the special teams, as you mentioned, find way. Yeah, just play cleaner football. Like this game should have been a blowout. I almost marked down W on the spreads. I was celebrating. I was like, yeah, this is a good week. Didn't galaxy brain anything. And honestly, didn't really galaxy brain this one. Just got screwed because the Chargers didn't want to come out. But yeah, I mean, the Chargers keep pace, right? Chiefs are 7-4. They're 6-4. So, I mean, they're doing everything. The Bills are 6-4. So the Chargers definitely take care of business and finding a way to win the game, even if it got sloppy towards the end. So, I mean, yeah, I guess if there's one positive, as you said, you walk out with you won a game, even though in the past you would end up losing that game.
It's a positive for long-term Chargers fans. As someone that's rooting for the Chargers, just because I like Herbert, I'm not encouraged from the performance.
Facts. Yeah, Herbert's the real deal. He kind of got things going. He had a couple rough weeks. He found it though. So props to Justin Herbert. I like him as well. And way to get it back going and win a shootout. Yeah, as you said, I can't believe that was the game that became the shootout and not the Cowboys and the Chiefs. But what do you know? That's just classic NFL. Moving forward, another one, NFC. Not really. I don't know. This wasn't really like a surprise. Vegas wasn't surprised. I mean, the line was 2.5. The Packers go on the road to Minnesota, almost eke out. This almost felt like a classic. Like, here we go, dude. Kirk Cousins. They're winning. Aaron Rodgers ties the game at 31. He had a hell of a day, slinging the ball around. And then, yeah, obviously the Vikings at the end kick the field goal, win. Issues for the Packers side. They lose left tackle. I believe it's Elgin Jenkins, torn ACL. David Bakhtiari is still not good to go. So, I mean, that's kind of concerning if you're the Packers. Also, Aaron Rodgers, turf toe, not turf toe thing. He said it's a little worse than turf toe. I don't know what the hell that means. I'm no doctor, but that's kind of concerning going forward. Obviously, he'll suit up and play. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. He'll do his thing. But yeah, I mean, the defense not good. You let Kirk Cousins absolutely carve you early Thanksgiving, 341, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Dalvin had his way, 22 for 86 and a touchdown. Shout out Justin Jefferson, still pissed we picked Jalen Reagor instead of Justin Jefferson because, I mean, yeah, we thought he was only a slot wide receiver. That's cool. He had 8, $169 and 2 touchdowns. And Thielen even throws in a touchdown. So they did whatever they wanted, right? This is another shootout game. And yeah, the Vikings win. It's usually, I mean, I guess if you're a Vikings fan, same way as the Chargers, you got to be happy. These are usually games you lose, right? You usually lose these to Aaron Rodgers, especially when you let him get back into the ball game and do his thing with Devontae Adams and Valdez-Scantling. They both balled out. But I mean, Packers, they walk out of this 8-3. They're still kind of good, but I mean, it's a lot of health concerns on the Packers side with Aaron Rodgers, the left tackle issue, and your defense just getting carved up like a Thanksgiving turkey. Yeah, what do you see? What do you see out of this?
This is a good one. Classic divisional game. I picked the Packers. I'm not terribly surprised the Vikings won. It was a 3-point game, but you're right. Just like if you're a longtime Chargers fan, longtime Vikings fan, you're happy you're on like the right side of this outcome. It felt like a classic. Aaron Rodgers is going to drive him back, win the game. But to be honest, I feel like he just scored too fast because it was a one-play deep Marquez Valdez-Scantling touchdown to tie it at 31 all, and then they never got the ball back. Interesting. Usually the roles are reversed. The Vikings tie, and then Aaron gets the last drive, but it didn't work out that way. And the Packers are on the short end of the stick. They're still a good football team. They're still right there, but the injuries are worrying me. Yeah, and Aaron's beat up. And then the other thing is Mason Crosby missed another field goal. He's getting older, and I've seen him miss a few this year. I don't think it's like a big concern, but it's a little worrisome.
It's a big concern. He sucks. He kicks like he has a shitty diaper.
Okay, here we go. Then.
You can keep going. He's bad. Yeah, he's bad.
He's older too, so it's like he's been so good for so long. It might be time to just cut ties with Mason Crosby after this year because He missed another one, and they lost by 3 points. So that's concerning. The Vikings are just hit and miss to me all the time. If they could consistently give you this offensive performance, they'd be a damn good football team. But I wouldn't be surprised if next week they only score 14.
Yeah, it's weird that he misses one but makes the 54-yarder. It's like, yeah, I don't get him. Yeah, I don't know his form. I don't know his form. He just looks old as shit, I guess. Yeah, not good kicking. Even the Bengals game, we saw it. We've seen it all year,
Yeah.
even in the Chiefs game. Like,
Yep. See,
yeah, it might be time to cut ties with Mason Crosby this week. Like, let's move
he's
on.
37. Like he's been very good for a long time, but he's missing too many at this point.
Yeah,
Just like Vinatieri down the stretch his last year, he was just missing too many.
yeah, and I mean Mason Crosby's never really been known as an accurate kicker, just a big boot, to be honest, throughout his career. So I mean, when the big boot's not there, it's kind of when you're not accurate to begin with, and then you're big, the big leg's not really working. Yeah, it might be time. And then I forgot Aaron Jones didn't even play, right? He's out as well. So I mean, the Packers, yeah, they have a lot of injury stuff to clean up. If you're a Vikings fan, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I don't even know if you're happy that you won this game. Like, obviously, you want to beat Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, but it's like you win games like this, and it like just trickles in there that Mike Zimmer will continue to stick around. And it's like, I don't know if I was a Vikings fan, if I want Zimmer back again next year. Obviously, you've seen what this entire era of him outside of 2017 with Case Keenum, what this era of Vikings football has really looked like: close losses, unfulfilled potential. So I mean,
Well, they are right there for a wild card spot. So if they get one, I don't know. If they win the wild card game, then Zimmer might be safe.
yeah, if Zimmer gets to the playoffs, dude, he's probably safe. And yeah, I'd be probably ripping my eyeballs out if I was a Vikings fan. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, shootout game, fun game. Packers, they worry me a little bit with the health stuff going forward with Aaron. But yeah, let's move on. I mean, this is a couple of just quick ones. Obviously, Bengals beat the Raiders 32-13. They go into the desert. They get things going. We watch the Raiders really stumble some more. I mean, it seems like the Raiders, the nail is almost in their coffin. Joe Burrow, 20 of 29, buck 48, one touchdown, no picks, no interceptions. He did have a fumble though. Yeah, that was pretty bad when I was watching early on. I think it was the first drive of the game where he coughed it up. That O-line sucks. I don't care what any Bengals fan tries to spin it on. That O-line's not good. Obviously, Jamar Chase, the baller, didn't really ball out, but I mean, maybe you should have invested better O-line picks. Joe Mixon, though, 30 carries, a buck 23, 2 touchdowns. Zach Taylor, I'm telling you, I've been begging you to run Joe Mixon for weeks now. Just run the guy. Like, he's legit in the backfield. It takes a lot of pressure off of Joe Burrow, less hits. But I mean, just real quick, are we back in on the Bengals? I don't think I'm really completely back in. It just looks like the Raiders are about done, right? The wheels have finally fell off the wagon. Derek Carr turning the ball over just hasn't been what he was out of the gates.
Yeah, I would say I'm more out on the Raiders than I'm back in on the Bengals. I was in on the Bengals after their dominant Baltimore performance, but then they lost to the Jets right after that. And to be fair, I didn't think they'd be this good heading into this year. I think they still made a big jump, and like they're right there for a wild card spot. So if you're the Bengals/Bengals fans, you got to be happy still. But am I in on the Bengals? No, I'm really not. I just think the Raiders are collapsing so bad.
Yep, facts. They're collapsing. 6-4. Bengals keep it rolling though. They're still in the picture. So I mean, we'll wait and see with them. But yeah, I'm not really back in on the Bengals at all. Shitty O line, and Joe Burrow is still he didn't force any interceptions, but he finds a way to have 1 or 2 turnovers a week that they concern me going forward. Jumping in, 8-3 Tennessee Titans, now 8-3 Tennessee Titans. Yeah, the wheels blew up, I would say, right? They hit a nail this week. That was the Houston Texans and Tyrod Taylor. The Texans really did nothing amazing at all. It was really just Ryan Tannehill got awful. 35 of 52, 323, 1 touchdown, 4 picks. I mean, this is what the Titans are when they got to throw the ball 52 times. It's not going to be pretty. Adrian Peterson, 9 carries, 40 yards. He got cut. They didn't really have the running game. And I don't know what to say about the Titans. I guess the only thing to say is they beat good teams, and then they have 2 of 3 losses are to the Jets and the Texans. Obviously, they were missing like every single wide receiver when they played the Jets, but they also had Derrick Henry at the time, and losing this game, it's kind of concerning because now you don't have Derrick Henry. I heard he could rumor to be come back in January, but it's like that's still a month of football away, right? Like you still have to find ways to win games, and I don't think the remedy is throwing the ball 52 times a game with Ryan Tannehill. He's just not that quarterback. Philip Lindsay's out there. The Texans just cut him. Maybe add him to the backfield. Little of explosiveness to the backfield. Apparently, he still has some explosiveness. I was told earlier today. Didn't really see it. But yeah, what do you see? Are you concerned with the Titans? They lose the shitty teams, beat good teams. They're a weird team without Derrick Henry.
The Titans are a really strange team. And I just think of the Sunday night performance against the Rams because it was such a dominant defensive performance. So it's weird. They come out and like certain units play well for him, but like you don't have Derrick Henry. Julio Jones hasn't played. AJ Brown's getting beat up. He was in and out of this game. Like your top receiver is Westbrook, and then you throw in to Hillard and Rodgers and Dez Fitzpatrick. It's just not a good look for the Titans. They need their weapons back. And I don't they yeah, the defense had one great week a few weeks ago, but you can't really rely on the defense. So it's hard to see where the Titans go. The Colts feel like a much better AFC South football team right now than Tennessee does.
Exactly. It's yeah, I mean, yeah, Tennessee couldn't get to the quarterback, no sacks, they didn't force any turnovers. Nothing was in their favor. It's weird to see them. They got dominated at home by the Houston Texans. So that's the more interesting part, a home game. And yeah, I mean, if you're looking at those two teams, yeah, I mean, the Colts are surging at the right time. Obviously, two losses to the Titans. So that'll be interesting tiebreaker wise if the records end up getting similar. If the Titans somehow slip and drop a couple more games, they'll hold the tiebreaker over the Colts. But yeah, I mean the Colts, they worry me. They couldn't, yeah, or not the Colts, the Titans worry me because as you said, the defense, they can't be relied on. They look amazing against the Rams, and then they can't get to the beat up bad, not even really beat up, just bad Texans O line. They can't get to the quarterback one time. It's a sad scene in Tennessee.
Yeah, and it's not like Houston's offense lit him up, dude. Tyrod went 14 completions for 107 yards. Rex Burkhead 18 carries, 40 yards. No one went off for Houston. So it's very concerning that Tennessee did not get this done, and they lost by 2 possessions here at home.
Exactly. They lost to Tyrod Taylor solely, 2 touchdowns. Would have been a 14-13 game. My man Tyrod really doing the trick. Actually, it wouldn't have been because they missed an extra point. It would have been a 13-13 if they don't kick field goals. So we'll keep it moving. Last one on the docket before we jump into some random stuff, I guess, as we kind of wrap this up. Arizona 9-2. Big win, go on the road. The Seattle Seahawks are just bad. I mean, I think we're looking at the end of the Pete Carroll era for sure. He's old,
Yeah.
possibly the end of the Russ era. As it was already rumored last offseason that he was not keen on coming back, and no trade never ever happened. But it just seems like both of those guys, it feels like a formality. I feel like one, if not both, are definitely gone there. I think Pete Carroll will retire after the year, and very well Russell Wilson could request a trade as well. But I mean, shout out to the Cardinals, right? Colt McCoy goes 2-1 as a starter, keeps the ship afloat, keeps them solo top of the NFC. When we didn't really know, right? I was kind of weary the second I saw like Kyler was on track to play Sunday, and then it got switched. I think Saturday night, Rappaport and Schefter were like, yeah, they're just going to leave. They're going to let him heal another week, and they'll bring him out. They obviously have a bye week coming forward into week 12, so they'll just let him sit, get another 2 weeks of rest, and then be ready out of the bye. So I was like, damn, dude, I might have got scammed. I think the line actually flipped to Seattle was like a 2.5-point favorite once that actually became official. But I mean, shout out to Colt McCoy, Cliff Kingsbury. They find a way to get the job done. Hold your solo first place in the NFC. Zach Ertz, 2 touchdowns, my type of guy right there. And I'm impressed with the Cardinals being able to scratch out wins even when Kyler's down. That's huge as they'll want to secure home field in the NFC playoffs, and obviously that 1 seed to get them an extra bye week. So you don't have to put Kyler out on the field for a wild card playoff game, right? So I mean, I'm impressed with the Cardinals. I'm assuming you're impressed with the Cardinals as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Sitting at 9-2, top of the NFC, winning with Colt McCoy. They clearly felt that their roster is just better than Seattle, and they got a damn good team. And they're right, they do. I'm going back to that cheesy quote that I keep referencing with JJ. Maybe we're just better. I think they are just better than most of the teams because you're playing without Hopkins, out Kyler. You're still 9-2. Kyler lost 1 game starting this year. It was Thursday night against Aaron Rodgers. There's no shame in that. So it's like I'm really high on Arizona. They are one of the best teams in the NFC. The only team I don't want to pick them against in the playoffs is Tampa Bay because how many times do we have to pick against Tom? Tom is Tom Brady, right? So it's hard to pick against him. But yeah, I'm very high on the Cardinals. They look good. You still get Murray and Hopkins back in the future. Like it's the they can represent the NFC. They can win the Super Bowl. If the road goes through Arizona to the Super Bowl, I wouldn't be surprised at all. And then Seattle, yeah, it looks like the end of an era. Russ didn't feel good at the end of last season. They went 12-4, and he had unrest and wasn't happy. Now they're sitting at 3-7, so it's hard to see Russell coming back or Pete Carroll. Maybe one of them does. Maybe Russell does, but it'll be hard to see if you're in Seattle. If you're the Seahawks, you're not in a good position right now. But yeah, nothing but praise for Arizona Cardinals. Good for Colt McCoy. He had such a bad start to his career because I watched him in college at Texas. So it's good to see him get some good starts finally, get some wins.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like the only way Russ would come back is if you kind of let him or really heavily involve him with the next head coach. That's assuming Pete Carroll is actually out, right? I mean, I assume there'll be some leeway there. I'd assume they come to an agreement at some point at the end of the year. But I assume if Russ is going to come back, that he's going to have heavy say in who the next coach is there. But that team, yeah, they're a disaster. That's about all you can
Yeah,
really say.
and like last season when the Eagles were sputtering and being terrible, I felt confident saying Carson or Doug will come back, one of the two, but not both. And then both of them got shipped out. So you never know.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, that's really it. I mean, any other games on the docket? Obviously, the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts do their thing. Like I proclaimed last week, there's not another loss on the schedule. What did I tell you? The Saints come to town. We find ways to beat them, right? Our last home win, our first home win this year against the Saints. Our last home win before that was against the Saints. Yeah, I remember when the Saints fans said they would have came in 2017 and beat us? I don't think that
No chance.
Yeah, I don't think that would happen. Big win there. Yeah, Cleveland doesn't look great. 13-10 over Tim Boyle. I mean, I'm not, if you're the Browns, you got to be, I guess, happy you got to win, but they're a disgrace. And yeah, Baltimore almost covers against the Bears. They decided to all out blitz and let Andy Dalton throw a 60-yard touchdown pass. Don't really get that one. Anything else that you really saw?
Like I said earlier, Cam Newton played pretty well, but they lost. I was just personally rooting for him, whatever. I want to speak about the Eagles and then the Patriots real quick. The Eagles, I just want to say, because like as an Eagles fan, it's nice to see them getting wins and they're looking better each week. Miles Sanders came back, 16 carries, 94 yards. Jalen Hurts, 18 carries, 69 yards. Jordan Howard, 10 carries, 63 yards. That's the fact that they were so productive on the ground still when you knew the Saints knew where they were going to run. And that's the Saints' strength as a defense and as a team is to stop the run. And the Philadelphia still gave it to them is very encouraging. That makes me very happy as an Eagles fan. And then I bring up the Patriots because they had such a dominant performance and everything's so shaky in the AFC right now. Is it that crazy to think that the Patriots are like one of the top two teams in the AFC? Do you think that's crazy?
No, I mean, I said after last week when they won, and then I said the Patriots are winning the AFC East. Book it, line it up. I think they will beat Buffalo. At least one. They'll at least split with Buffalo. I like the Patriots. Bill Belichick's got his guys right where he wants them. They usually started slow in the Tom era, and they started slow this year with Mac Jones, obviously a rookie. But yeah, they have everything going at the right time, and they're only getting better. It's crazy to say that. But yeah, I don't think it's that crazy. But the way the AFC's looked, I got them as a little preview for week 12 as I got them a lock. They will beat Tennessee. I think it's like 5.5. I'm gonna roll Patriots. Yeah, I think they beat Tennessee
I like it.
pretty handily.
I also don't think is that out of the realm of possibility that we see history repeats itself and Bill Belichick does it 20 years later with another rookie quarterback because the teams are built similar and it's just there's some similarities there. Who knows what happens, but yeah, here come the Patriots right on time.
That's for sure. Give me the storyline, dude. Give me the Patriots and Bill Belichick Super Bowl against Tom Brady rematch of
Love it.
earlier in the season, week 4. Give me that. Like I would love Mac Jones going against Tom Brady. Obviously, we're a long way away because right now we just cursed them. They'll probably lose their next 6 games because we just decided to say something. But yeah, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I like where the Patriots are trending, and obviously, Bill Belichick, head coach, probably one of the best, if not the best, down the stretch as far as coaches.
And you cannot get a better storyline or drama NFL wise than that. That would be top notch.
Exactly. That'd be electric. But yeah, let's just jump in real quick, cover up how we all did on the spreads this week, week 11. I finally jump out, don't galaxy brain anything, don't try to do anything special. Outside of the Jags one, that was kind of trying to do something special. I knew one possession into that game that it was done. Should have been 10 if the Chargers took care of business, but I'm happy with 9-5, get the train rolling a little bit, kind of get myself back in play. Any picks that you're kind of mad with at the end?
The only thing that like really bothers me is the damn Ravens -5 because Lamar didn't play, and then there was an all-out blitz, like we've said many times, that Darnell Mooney touchdown. That's the only thing that really bothered me. That was a bad beat. Packers was close. Bills got their ass kicked. Browns should have played better. Chargers should have covered, but it was nothing wild. 6-8, very close to just 7-7 and getting even. But it is what it is. On to next week.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all of us whiffed on the Bills and Browns, to be honest. So it's not really, there's no shame. I think all of us whiffed on the Bills, Browns, and Packers to be Bills, Browns, Packers, and Chargers. So, I mean, we all had kind of similar picks. We all whiffed there. So, I mean, it was good. It's good to see that kind of the picks that I went different from certain people worked out in my favor to kind of give me a little bit of momentum, at least pick up 2 games going into week 12. But I mean, we'll see. Anything can happen as we kind of keep this thing going.
That and then John picked the Saints. We should have known the dominant Eagles performance was coming.
Yeah, I mean, he should have listened. He should have listened when I said. I think I said it before we even did the week 11 preview. I said not another loss on the schedule. I think I said in our group Discord. I said there's not another. We're not losing another game. So I don't know why he would go Saints +2. But hey, that happens. But yeah, I mean, that's gonna be a wrap for today's show. I want to thank everybody for listening. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you have any suggestions. As always, the Spotify link, if you're audio only, will be in the description of this video. Go ahead and follow us over there if you're an audio only listener. And yeah, that's going to be a wrap for today. And we will see you tomorrow night, probably for the Thanksgiving little early special week 12 preview.